And the strange thing about once you enter the city of Dis, the lower hell, is that it's very much like an inverted castle. It's very odd because inside the walls is the moat, the river of Phlegethon, as we'll get to in a little bit. When usually there's a watery moat on the outside, so that's an interesting structural element. And then also, I think the inverted castle, as you get further and further down, it's almost like if you've ever seen the movie of The Lord of the Rings, when they go to one of the cities and there's a keep, right? You keep going up and it gets narrower and narrower and the walls get higher and it seems to be more and more impregnable. Well, this is the opposite. You go deeper and deeper and things get worse and worse, but in a way it's a city. And anybody in the Christian tradition or in the biblical tradition and also in the pagan tradition who begins to pay attention to the fact that there's a city being described here will almost inevitably think of a couple of things. Now, I'll start with a pagan one that I think is most important here, and that is that Aristotle, who you remember back in Canto 4, was called the master of those who know, el maestro di color que sanno, Dante says about him. So that Aristotelian tradition that we've talked about before that comes through Aquinas. We don't talk a lot about Aquinas yet because that's more when you get to purgatory and you get to heaven where there's more of a Christian overlay. But Aristotle talked about the polis, which is the city in Greek. And Aristotle famously said, and this was known throughout the Middle Ages and the Renaissance, that he who can live without a city must be either a beast or a god. In other words, the human person is built in a way that you're social. The normal condition of a human being is to live in an ordered social community of some kind. And only a god who is independent can live without that structure, or a beast who pays no attention to it. And I think, if you read carefully, you're probably already anticipating what we're about to see is a city that's a bestial, kind of a bestial expression. And if it's a city, it's a very strange and disorderly and brutish city.